Hello, welcome to Meaningful Careers. My name is Pardon Pagua. Today I want to share with you something personal with the hope that this will inspire you, inform you, and give you some insights into careers as far as the UK is concerned. In this video, I also want to talk to you about how Meaningful Careers came about. So stay tuned.
Meaningful careers now. Take the time to take your destiny in your hands now. With Meaningful Careers.
I moved to the UK sometime in 2020, just before the lockdown, with all the excitement, the ambition, the hope, and the aspirations to say, look, I'm going to make my career fly. As soon as I landed, met a few friends and family, got home, started having a few visitors. One piece of advice was consistent across all of them. They were like, here, you need to get a job as soon as possible. But then the main line or the main profession or the main trade that's there for us is the care work jobs or the warehouse. And I was like, what? Is that the norm? Then they said, yeah, that's the majority of us. So I was like, okay, taken aback a bit to say, okay, is this what I signed up for then? Let's see how it goes. But I had my resolve and hope and faith and belief to say, look, I have done this before. I've worked in the private sector, in big corporates in Zimbabwe. I had worked for the largest telecoms company in Zimbabwe, the largest tourism and hospitality group in Zimbabwe. I had worked for one of the big 4 audit firms in Zimbabwe. So I was confident and I could, fairly stand my chances and back myself up to say, no, I can make it. If I could make it in Harare, then I can make it anyway. And I started doing my job applications. Right, a few months passed. There was nothing. And slowly, that piece of advice that I had gotten from my people started ringing in my head to say, okay, I started thinking, okay, I guess they were right. I might need to consider care work and warehouses. And there I was. I had to apply because the bills started coming through anyway. And in the UK, they don't mess about as far as bills are concerned. So I applied, I got a job at one of the big supermarkets. And my night shift journey started. The shifts that I worked were 2 a.m. to around 8 a.m. I had to leave early so that I can go back home to swap with my wife who needed to start her own job during the day, as well as balance childcare because our son was basically 9 months old at that point. So this went on and on for a few months. And I was like, okay, yeah, I think people were right. This is what it is. After all, we need money. After all, this is why we came for here. So I was like, okay, let's do this. I did this for a few months. But then it never sat right with me to say, is this everything? Regardless of your skill set, regardless of your experience, regardless of your competencies. Is this all that you need or that you can access as a migrant? I was like, no, this cannot be it. Surely that's not everything. But I kept on applying and not getting the luck. So to some extent, I was almost convinced to say that's it. But I kept on thinking to myself, no, that's definitely not it. So one day I came across somebody's WhatsApp status, a fellow Zimbabwean who had posted just a link to one of the job openings. It was a campaign which was recruiting quite a lot of vacancies, but it was in a place far away from where I stayed, and they needed people that had to go to the office, and I couldn't travel. So automatically, it wasn't the job for me. But then out of curiosity, I was like, okay, but let me see what else is on this website, what else is on this platform. And what I found there was something else. What I found there was mind-blowing. That changed my perspective for good. It was a light bulb moment for me to be like, okay, so what I didn't have are not the skills, the competencies, the experience. No, what I didn't really have is the information on where to get what. It dawned on me that information gap or lack of information can be a killer regardless of how much you have done or how much qualified you are. My information gap was on, one, where to search and what to search, which sectors to go for. Do I just randomly go everywhere? Or do I choose the public versus the private sector? Secondly, is how to even apply. What's the best approach to apply for jobs? Third, is what to use to apply. In terms of my own CV, my cover letters, my personal statements, etc. Then fourth was the lack of information around what is it that they use to recruit, to sift, to shortlist candidates. I got information about all this on that website, and that gave me a massive insight into the sense of, okay, I need to re-strategize. I had gone a few months with my rich CV, with my interview experience. For the record, back home in Zimbabwe, I've never failed a job interview. So I was still waiting for that one chance to just get an interview, because I thought to myself, if they make a mistake of inviting me for an interview, I'm getting that job. But what didn't materialize was that job interview. So I realized this lack of information on what to apply, where to apply, how to apply, and the understanding of what systems they use was basically what was killing and crushing my chances of success in the market. So with this new understanding, I then had to revise my strategy. And my strategy was very simple. I looked at 4 pillars where I didn't have information. The first one was what, where, and how to apply. Whether to go for the public sector, I understood, okay, the public sector routes to entry, you can go through apprenticeships, you can go through developmental schemes, you can do your direct application on their careers websites. And the private sector, I understood now to say the best way to get in there is either through, you can do direct application, although the chances are quite slim of success in that one, or you can work with agents, recruitment agents, or you can do what they call referrals, where somebody who is already within that organization can refer you. And then you can also go through some of the developmental schemes. Then in number 3, in terms of what to use, I then restructured and revisited my CV to make it applicant tracking system compatible, highlighting the keywords, highlighting the achievements. So I revised my CV's content, but at the same time I revised the structure of the CV. And lastly, boasting myself with my own interview undefeated record. I could have just sat and said, okay, I'll wait until they call me for an interview, but I started preparing and anticipating different interviews and the different interview types and what they were looking for based on my understanding. So it was just a matter of time before I got something. You won't believe it. Within 2 months, I had gotten 2 job offers from the largest government departments. I had to pick and choose which one to go for. As soon as I joined what was called NHS Test and Trace back then, which later transitioned to UK HSA. And I stayed there for about a year. But as soon as I got in there, I understood the systems now to say they are what are called internal loans, temporary promotions, many internal movement schemes that happen. And before you know it, I got my other second job within the same organization at a more senior level, at a managerial level, which is what I had always been back in Zimbabwe, but I just started getting in using an entry level. So in 1 year, I had about 3 jobs. Okay. Then after that, further 2 job offers from other government departments as well, because I now had mastered the approach of applying, the approach of interviews. So by 2023, I can tell you I had moved, or I had at least received about 5 job offers. Not on some random jobs. No, the ideal jobs for me, the jobs that offered me flexibility, offered me career growth, offered me a sense of fulfillment and career progress. And not the norm, which is your care work or the warehouse. Nothing bad about those jobs, nothing absolutely against those jobs. If that's the opportunity you have, go for it. But then it's wrong to think that that's everything or that's the only job that you can get. I disagree. So with my 5 job offers in 3 years in the UK, and none of them being care work or warehouse or any other menial jobs as we would call them, it made me realize, it made me reflect, it made me understand to say lack of information is dangerous. I realized and I understood that, look, people have career ambitions. People have all the aspirations and the direction that they want to take. But sometimes what's stopping most of them is the lack of information. There are a lot of career paths in the United Kingdom, but many people settle for the ones that they are told by their reliable, good friends and family. Not because they want to mislead you, but that's all they know. And unfortunately, if you don't research further as an individual, that's all you will ever know, and that's all you will ever believe. I came to the realization that global opportunities exist. Things like scholarships, things like international jobs, they do exist, but people do not have the information they need. They don't know where to look for the information, or they don't know where to find the information. It's not that these opportunities don't exist, and it's not that people are not getting them. I realized as I was reflecting that skills are more important than job titles. Back home in Zimbabwe, it was all about what job title are you now? Are you now the head? Are you now the general manager, etc.? But I realized no, it's about the skills. If you get the right skills, you get the right opportunities. And my other important realization was that it's not all about employment. It's not all about getting jobs, actually. It's funny I say that with my success rate of getting the jobs. But as I went through my job search, I understood that, there are other opportunities. Some choose to be academics. You can go to school, you can further your education. And we have a lot of migrants and a lot of foreigners in this country that are also doing well in business. I then understood that it's not all about getting the job. You can also start a business, and it's not as difficult as people think it is to register and start a company. A lot of people are being scammed, paying for things that they should never pay for, paying for things like to get a visa sponsorship. Yes, out of desperation. Yes, out of lack of information. And people have lost a lot of their hard-earned fortunes. Why? Because of lack of information. Right now, people are stuck in jobs they don't like. People are stuck doing things that they don't enjoy. Why? Because they don't have the information, or they don't believe it's possible to do what you actually want. Why? Because of lack of information. So with this pain, with this reflection, is where meaningful careers comes in. Having gone through the pain, having gone through the panic, having gone through the realization, the frustration and the joy, I realized that the lack of information needs a solution. And I thought, okay, who else to do it but I? With my understanding, as somebody who transitioned from the third world space to the first world, who transitioned from being in a corporate space to doing some menial jobs and back in the corporate space, who else is better qualified to do this than me? Or at least let me do my part, and others can also support and join. This is the reason why I have established meaningful careers, with the sole ambition to move people into fulfilling and purposeful work. People are being scammed. People are getting false beliefs and just channeling into the norm because of lack of information. So meaningful careers is coming, and meaningful careers will be on all the social media platforms from YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, and X, with the vision that this becomes the hub of information and insights and inspiration as far as careers are concerned. So people don't fall into the same trap of getting into the norm or being scammed or getting into the jobs that they don't like, but get into fulfilling and purposeful work. On these channels, I share information for you, whether you're a student, a job seeker, an employer, an employee, or an entrepreneur, if you want to just further your business. Then on the flip side, I also have incorporated Meaningful Careers as a limited company to offer career development services to individuals and employer and business services. On the career development services, we've got career advisory, CV and resume writing or review. We have job application support. We have interview coaching. We have career mentoring and coaching. And lastly, we have IELTS, English test preparation. Then on the business side of things, we have services for you, whether you're starting your own business. Number one is bespoke training and advisory, where we help you train your staff and develop your staff as far as best people practice is concerned. Then we also have talent sourcing, we have job advertising and posting, we have executive search, we have recruitment process outsourcing, and we can also help with candidate screening. These are all to help you, whether you are an individual wants to pursue or progress their career, or you have thought of starting your own business and you want the best professional people advice, Meaningful Careers is there to help you. That's my story, and that's Meaningful Careers for you. I am not the oracle of all information, but I'm here to give you as much as possible to help you thrive regardless of your endeavors. And if you've got any questions, or if you've got anything that you want to share or that you want to add on our platform as well, feel free, reach out, and let's support each other find fulfilling and purposeful work.
Meaningful careers now. Take the time to take your destiny in your hands now. With meaningful careers.